All right, darling. Thank you so much for coming. Go ahead and have a seat here. Now, I want you to just, in a moment, remove that little cowl of yours covering your beautiful face. One quick thing. Just going to put this on. All right now, Medusa, go ahead and take it off. It's time to do your hair. Are we quite comfy, darling? Oh, that is wonderful. Now, as you know, I offer a special service for my supernatural clients where I help take care of their special needs. And, darling, would I ever forget about my marvelous Medusa? Even though your very gaze can turn mortal men to stone, it doesn't mean that you don't deserve to get your hair done. Now, are you relaxed, darling? Are you quite at peace? Good, good, good. Now, as you know, I must do this by touch, so we must be careful. Now, I know that I can trust you, darling, not to have your delightful little snake friends bite me, but do try to stay calm during the process. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to feel the length here, darling. Yes, that's quite lovely. You've been taking good care of yourself, haven't you? Have you been eating well? Good, good. Just because you're immortal doesn't mean you can't be bad health. So I'm glad to hear it because I can feel the scales of your snakes are nice and smooth. There's very few missing. Oh, looks like this one is about to start molting. That must mean he's a little cranky. Now, let me see. Do you want me to take any off the top? It's a joke, it's a joke. Oh, I can see them getting a little riled up. It's a joke. Of course, we won't be doing any trimming today per se. This is just a simple cleaning to keep your beautiful snakes nice and gorgeous. Now, tell me, Medusa, is there anyone new in your life? Oh, really? How interesting. You've met a young man. Well, I suppose young is relative when you are nearly 4,000 years old, but younger than you, I should say. Not that you don't look marvelous, darling. Don't think for a second that I haven't sneaked a peek of you in the mirror. I know very well you can't turn me to stone in the mirror. Now, let me feel here, very good. I'm just going to start the wash. Now, I know the snakes don't always like it so much, so we'll try a nice, gentle mist as we get them nice and ready for cleaning. I'm going to go ahead and start getting them clean here. Very good. I'm going to work in a very mild baby soap, and that's so that it won't irritate their little eyes if any gets in there. There we go. So tell me about this man. Interesting. So he's a centaur. Now that must be interesting. Those are big boys, are they not? Yes, very large, tend to be very muscular. Is that the case with this one? Oh, his name is Orin. Orin the centaur. He sounds absolutely delightful. If you have a photo of him, you should share it with me later, sweetheart. Oh, now that's quite interesting. Orin is blind. So obviously you're not dating him because he's blind, but I suppose one might say that it has certain benefits, doesn't it? Oh, now, that's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that, darling. Now, I'm just going to bring the mister over and we're going to wash off that soap. Very good, very good. How is that feeling? Are they feeling quite relaxed? Good, good, Medusa. You are just a treasure. I always like working with you and my other very unique clients. Now, just the other day, I had this werewolf that I was doing a full body shampoo with, and he was the grumpiest Gus that you can ever imagine. Think of a terrifying man beast, 8 foot tall, must have weighed 400 pounds. I don't know how the conservation of mass works when they transform like that, but it's magic. What are you going to do? But he is just puffed out like a lemon cake. And then it happened. I said, don't you, don't. And shaker, 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 shaker. And everything in my salon is covered with sudsy soap, as he just had to shake himself off. You know, werewolves hate it. They just hate it when you make dog jokes. And so, of course, I don't. But when they do things like that, they are just asking for it, aren't they, darling? Now, what we're going to do next is I'm going to begin snake by snake. We're going to begin rubbing in a very simple olive oil concoction of my own devising. What this is going to do is it's going to help each individual snake really get healthy and shiny and just be as healthy as they could possibly be. Here we go. There we go. You know, I don't believe I've ever asked you, do your snakes eat? Interesting. So typically they don't eat, but they can eat. That is interesting. So if they're just, if the mood strikes you, or I suppose if someone is bothering you, well, I suppose most people who bother you don't do it for very long, do they, darling? Oh, this is going very, very well. This one, I can tell, is a little smaller than the others. Is there any particular reason for that? Well, of course, that makes perfect sense, darling. They would all be different shapes, just like the individual human hairs would all be different lengths and such. I can see now that the ones at the front here are much smaller, and they're just cute as a button, is what they are. And so I'm going to keep rubbing in this oil, but what I want to know is, where are you living now, darling? Because I know that you take the ferry way to get to my shop through the tree that's in the back alley sometimes, in the back. Oh, so you've gotten back to your roots. You're seated up in Greece again. How long has it been since you've been to Greece? 900 years. My goodness, it must have changed quite a bit since then. Oh, yes, yes. So, what sort of establishment are you in? Oh, you've just got a little loft, a little apartment down in downtown in Athens. Oh, yes, very nice, very nice. So, darling, I don't mean to be crass, but quick question. How are you keeping from turning the locals into statuary? I see. So you do have a charm that you can use so that you can take on the semblance of a mortal woman. Don't mean to be rude, darling, but I just wanted to ask, is there any particular reason we're not doing that in here? Oh, I see, I see. It doesn't work when there are mirrors about because it shows your true form. And of course, my salon is just chock full of them, so I quite understand. Well, that's quite all right. This is really good practice for me, darling. This really helps me. because the more that I can just use my fingers, it helps me with my senses. Now, what I'd like, darling, is if you could turn away slightly. I am going to take a quick peek just so I can see how those snakes are doing in the mirror. All right, you turned away. Very good, very good. Ah, yes, that is delightful. Okay, putting it back down, putting it back down. They're looking great. So I'm just going to begin toweling them off now. Toweling them off and getting them nice now. Don't they feel just divine now? You are glimmering, my darling. You are a dream. And I suspect Oren is going to love the way those snakes feel when he runs his hands through your hair. So, very good. Enjoy the rest of your day, darling. Have a safe trip back the ferry way. And lastly, will it be cash or credit? Oh, so good that you didn't turn me into stone. If you're enjoying this role play, normally at this time is when I ask you to support me by subscribing or watching a new video, but the truth is I actually have a Patreon, and you can go to the Patreon in the link and just chuck in $1 or so, and I will make a video just for you if you do. So please check out the link in the link below. Help support Roleplay Riot so that I can make more videos like this. And remember, always look in the mirror first.